Welcome everyone for another tournament game review, and we're starting to enter the semi-final of the PCC 6. Here we have the chefs against villains, and for this match I have selected the point of view of Xehe, the support on the side of the chef, playing the Narbash with a very specific build that is actually very interesting. I like the idea, I like the tech. He's going for a Frosted Lure into True Silver Bracelet while using the Sanctification Crest, which basically offer a lot of shield that will guarantee that this Crash Bang Boom ultimate of the big green guy is going to explode in every single team fight, and there is a few that are actually really nice to watch. Let's enjoy. First semi-finals, which will be between villains and the chef. Of course, on the side of villains, we do have Lobber, Apipiker, Bright, Toasty, and Lyconator. On the side of the chef, we have Cold, Xehe, Sneaks, Mav, and Not Rebel Oasis. For this match, as usual, we're going to focus our point of view on the Narbash, and here the support for the side of villains, the support from the side of the chef that is piloted by Xehe. And so in terms of duo lane, here we can see we have a Narbash Twin Blast against a Rictor Murdoch. Rictor Murdoch, kind of a very strong lane. Playing Narbash into Rictor is something that is very, very difficult. A little thing interesting is, like, you can see that the villains were going for a pretty deep invade, but the chef was also grouping as 5, and in the end, no fight has been found. They do place a ward on the blue buff and on the 4 camp. I kind of like better a little bit this ward on the 4 camp because it gives more information. The ward on the blue buff, like usual, like I told, I'm not a big fan of it because it just provides information on if he's starting blue or red. But Greystone is most likely gonna start red almost every single time. And so we were talking about the matchup of the Narbash Twin Blast against Rictor Murdoch. Twin Blast is a character that needs to scale a little bit. Narbash is fully about scaling. Here we can see Cold dodging the hook. Toasty going immediately for the hook, and he's completely right to do so because the early levels, the Rictor Murdoch lane, is actually very strong if they get the hook. But if the hook is down, as you can see, she's stepping up a little bit, getting a little bit of poke of Lyconator, using the Vortex Grenade from the Twin Blast. That's the best they can do, poking a little bit. But the hook is very dangerous, and the hook can go onto the Narbash. So Toasty and Lyconator should have the early potential of kills, but Twin Blast and Narbash basically scale better than this lane overall. And so they can just wait patiently, and if they manage to get through the early game unscathed, suddenly this dual lane is very well into position to actually go for the next fight. And here we can see Toasty is trying to catch the wave, at least keeping the 2 range minion out of Tower range, so that way they can kind of freeze a little bit the wave closer to their tower, and that means that they can get priority afterwards, and that means also that Xehe and Cold have to expose themselves a little bit. As a Narbash, honestly, at early levels, all you can do is basically try to sunk at certain timing, but be careful, if you sunk it's down, suddenly the enemy team can just walk at you. So this is where you have to be a little bit careful of how you use that resources. And as you can see here, they just accept to back out a little bit. I guess we still want to secure this cannon, and so that's why we try to go for the Vortex Grenade, but the cannon doesn't die, so not this wave is going to fully push back, and so they're just gonna chill. They're not gonna get the level 3 first, so they have to be careful, but otherwise they're kind of fine. And so here we see wave is going to come back. I'm not sure you can really stop that from crashing because the hook is still very dangerous. They have the level advantage, and they will have minion advantage, so that's a lot of advantage that you don't really want to walk into. And so here that's why they let the wave crash. It's going to bounce back, but this bounce back game is kind of okay for the side of the Narbash team, as we can see that the first blood, and we got the first hook, immediately trying to go for the trap. Unfortunately for the side of Toasty and Lyconator, the side of villains, the trap are not well placed, so Cold kind of managed to get away without having to use his flash. If the trap connected, that would have been a flash immediately, and that would have been very good for them. But unfortunately, Lyconator not perfect on the trap, so Cold escaping. But that's exactly what I was talking about, the fact that the hook is super deadly with the Murdoch. And here another flash into a perfect trap that time. This time we got the flash away, and if the trap get the flash previously, this second hook would have been a kill. But unfortunately it's not a kill, and now they have to be careful. Toasty doesn't have any mana, but the Narbash and the Twin Blast neither. So I guess it's just a matter here of fighting who is going to get the wave control, because here almost everyone wants to go back to base at the exception of Lyconator. So overall, slight advantage for the Murdoch and Rictor lane, which is to be expected. Narbash can't really like fight into that. Toasty getting the level up, getting into Xehe, good trap. Maybe gonna force the flash away, we'll see. He's 1 HP, the buckshot, but it's not enough. And so like Xehe and Cole being like very like kind of cold in the sense of like their reaction, not panicking, not forcing flash, and so she survived with the flash. Toasty is still like very low on mana. He doesn't have enough for another hook, but very well played by Toasty nonetheless, like taking advantage of the level up to get enough mana to suddenly like go for the hook and actually like pressure very well this Narbash Twin Blast lane, but not finding success in getting the kill so far. And so here they're just gonna reset on that timing. They do reset, I think, on the cannon wave. So both sides are resetting on the cannon wave, which means that maybe one of the side is going to lose their cannon, and so we will see like which side it is, but they should be able like to walk quite fast. Maybe like both sides gonna end up like losing their cannon because like the wave is fully centered. And so here both sides accepting their loss. And the Vortex Grenade is too far away, so we're gonna get like Cole getting like one more last hit here, but a very nice hook by Toasty. She going to try to go for the thunk onto Lycanator, which is exactly what he should be doing, but unfortunately doesn't connect. In the end, Cole survives. She body blocking, Mav arriving for the counter engage, probably able to just like get maybe something, but the Sacred Host is not enough. But now we got the thunk. That means that we force the flash out of Toasty, and so this counter engage actually working out quite nicely for them. They got the flash while they didn't lose any flash from themselves, but now it's Bright arriving and people are forced to go back. Cole being very low, and now we finally get the rotation after the rotation after the rotation, and Xehe securing a kill for the side of the chef after this long drawn out engagement. Lycanator is still like the pretty healthy, but Xehe like here coming with just a Void Bomb, and it's just enough for Lycanator to not feel confident enough. And here like Lycanator trying to be like a little bit of a nuisance here, stopping the back of Xehe multiple times, but at the cost of his flash, which to be fair, I don't think it's worth it. Lycanator was completely fine to stay in that lane, farming potentially like this wave afterwards, but because he used so much to actually cancel Xehe, he loses flash, and on top of that he's now forced like to go back to base, which should offer like quite of an easy crash on the side of the chef. But they have to hard push that wave, and that's exactly what they're doing, because otherwise they're gonna have the Rictor and the Murdoch both together being super strong to be able like to stop this crash. And you can see like they don't even step up to try to cancel the crash, but Lycanator let everything go down on the tower because it would have been too big. I would have loved to see Toasty like stepping up and grab it that wave, so they got like a freeze at the expense of a little bit of health on Toasty. It wasn't done, so now it's gonna be like just resetting towards slightly closer to the tower of the side of the villains, but that means that's gonna be a slow push that is going to build up. Here we see villains get the first mini prime. The chef tried to react with Fangtus, but the dual lane was back to base, so there was like nothing to be fine, and that's gonna be a little bit complicated. And thank you Sovereign Grid for the follow. Welcome. So as we can see here, the wave was slightly closer to the other side, so that means that now it's gonna push on the other direction. We have 2 more range minions, so this wave is going to just like keep crashing. Gold buff is up, so maybe that's something that Toasty and Lycanator can actually try to get. And in the meantime, another kill is fine in the mid lane. We're trying to go a little bit aggressive. We know that the hook is down, so they have a small window to actually like deal some damage. I'm not so sure why he kept his heal up for so long. It actually consumed like a lot of mana, and so now like he's a little bit limited when it comes to his mana pool for an extended engagement. We're getting close to the level 6, as we can see Xehe already level 6. We tried to be aggressive because Mav was around, but immediately Toasty and Lycanator disengage. And so we're gonna keep this wave as close as the tower as possible, but it's gonna end up like going back in the other direction. We try to go for the march. And a little thing that is interesting, we use the ultimate, but I'm not so sure why. Then we get the hook from Toasty cancelling the ultimate, but ultimate was out of range. I feel like it was like a weird use of the ultimate. Maybe trying to zone the dual line so we guarantee that we get this Fangtus. But yeah, I was going to note that Xehe actually going for the March first, like 3 points into the March. And I guess like the idea is to like augmenting the March is mainly like to get like your cooldown faster so you can spam it more. But also like that means that probably like not maxing the E means that you heal less but you can heal longer because you have like a lower like mana cost. And you don't get like yet enough like mana to be able to sustain a stronger E. And so I guess that's the idea behind that that maximization. I have to admit, on myself on Narbash, I never tried maxing the March. It feels like it was like the last thing that I was going to max, but a lot of actual Narbash in the competitive scene in the SPC6 was actually like prioritizing this Q spell. And so I'm kind of a little bit curious and I have to invest a little bit more to know exactly what this solution is about. So far, Villain's doing a good job. They have a little bit more CS, as we can see. Like in the dual lane, it's even. But on the mid lane, Bry is getting a little bit better CSing. On the jungle, same thing. And so they start to get like a little bit of a lead. But the chef answering back with this Fangtus, not letting them fall behind in terms of the objective game. So far, pretty good, pretty even game. We kind of survived the early game on this dual lane that was like very complicated to do. And so now we're just like waiting to grow up. So they do have to be careful because probably Toasty has the ultimate available, while the Narbash I think is probably like still on cooldown. Should be back up pretty soon, but Narbash ultimate against a Rictor is not really that amazing. Against a Murdoch neither, because static trap, buckshot, there is a lot of way to just create space and be out of the ultimate. So it's more an ultimate you can use in reaction after the enemy team actually used a lot of their cooldowns. Hello Adanor. So here we can see Toasty like an hater, freezing the lane close to their tower. Cole and Xehe can't really like step up too much because otherwise like there would be like an easy gank for them. So they have to wait first to know where is the enemy jungler so they can actually step up and try to crush that wave. We kind of know that now the Happy Picker is on the other side of the map, so here Cole and Xehe are stepping up to forcing the crush of that wave. Dodging the hook though, because you have to be careful to not get hooked on the tower. And so we have the Frosted Lure pickup, and that's an interesting pickup. Like Frosted Lure first, like not everyone really agree with that. And I guess the idea is like we will see afterwards that she is going like True Silver with Sanctification. And so Frosted Lure can make you like very tanky against like enemy people that try to dive on you. So that's maybe like can be a counter to the Chimera, which is like a good way to counter that. The Steel also, if he sticks to you, the Rictor, you can create space, get a lot of shield. But it's also like another way to get like additional shield. Like when you use the True Silver, that means that during your ultimate, you're gonna get the shield from True Silver. Then you can use your Sanctification, which is the crest that she is going to opt in. And then you can also go for like the Frosted Lure that then proc. For those that don't know what Frosted Lure does, it basically like charge a pulse for like 4 seconds. And then it release a pulse of energy that does true damage around you. And based on the damage you do, you get an additional shield. And also like the thing is how shield works in Predecessor is like if your shield has special ability, like for instance True Silver shield actually like makes you immune to CC. And so like if the first shield applied, like if you add shield on top of a shield that have some effect, that means that the latest shield will be removed first. And so that means that you keep the effect of True Silver shield until all your shield is removed. And so if you go ultimate into Sanctification and then later on you proc the Frosted Lure, that means that until your shield reaches 0, you always CC to immune. And so I guess the idea here is that that allows you to actually like use your ultimate while being not interrupted. And Narbash ultimate in teamfight, if it doesn't get cancelled, can actually like, turn the fight around. So here we can see that the Mini Prime has respawned, so she's hovering around the mid lane a little bit, letting like both carry like working by themselves. We already get the Sanctification finish on the other side as well. Toasty going for the Fire Blossom on the Rictor, so that's a lot of damage. Here they're trying to be very, very aggressive onto Mav. We get the Stone Force Wall, we get the ultimate to try to counter engage there. This time triple like knock up, but unfortunately like there is nothing to follow up. Mav is forced to go away. So that's exactly what I was talking about, the ultimate. Like Xehe has to wait until the fight is finished. Well, not really the fight is finished, but the cooldown has been used, so it doesn't get cancelled. Kind of found like a good ultimate, but there is no follow-up, and so like villains actually secure the mini prime again, and they offer it to a P-Picker, which I believe is a very good choice, because that means that now a P-Picker can rotate to that Fangtooth and take advantage of that mini prime to actually either create pressure on the mid lane or dual lane, or just like be a more like a stronger force when it comes to just fighting around this Fangtooth pit. In the meantime though, Cold managed to secure the tier 1 tower on the dual lane while all this action was going on the rest of the map. So a mini prime for a tier 1 tower in terms of gold were pretty even, but as usual with the mini prime, it kind of depends what you do with the mini prime buff. If you do nothing with it, like then I would say like getting like permanent like structure pressure on the map is better. While like here getting this mini prime, if you do nothing with it, it's not the best. Here we can see like we're hovering around the mid lane. Cold is pressure on the tower, we're leaving Cold getting like a little bit of free farming. We're trying like to try to help Mav that's getting pressured here. As you can see, like Camera is going very aggressively. Mav doesn't have his ultimate because he has been used previously, and here we can see like Villains doing a very good job at pressuring with this mini prime. Then they use the long arm of the law to secure the kill on the Greystone, and that means that Greystone is now out of commission, and so that means that contesting this Fangtooth is very complicated. They don't have the Greystone to be able to contest the hunt. On top of that, it's a Iggy and Scorch Chimera composition, which means that it's very, very, very hard to contest any objective because they do them very fast without taking any damage. And on top of that, there was like the Chimera with the mini prime. So Chef accepting their loss here, just playing passive, waiting for that moment. Here we can see that Happy Picker was going in, and then we got like the skewer on 2 people, force double flash for just the call of Chimera and the skewer of Toasty. That's very strong, and so far this mini prime has been pretty good. We get like another Fangtooth from it, and we also like get some flash out of the side of Team Chef.
An allied tower is destroyed.
So here there is not much to be done, so she is just gonna hover around, getting like the farm. They're probably like gonna hard push the next wave because it's a cannon wave, get the gold buff, go for a little bit of a reset. As you can see, Cold here is going like very hard on the wave. They just want to push as much as they can that wave. She is making sure that he's getting all the experience before he's resetting. Get the gold buff, little timing to go back to base. We have 1100 gold to spend, working towards that true silver bracelet. Probably gonna get the nullifying mask plus a component, which is the codex for the magical power, improving a little bit the healing. And as you can see here, we got the march, and then we max the Sunk Thagan, which is interesting. That means that we're gonna max the heal like super duper late, and so this heal is gonna not be like super strong, but at the same time, since we're not building like a lot of heal and shield power, like we don't really looking for compound effect. I'm kind of wondering like really what is the best way. To be fair, like I thought for a long time it was like the E into Sunk into March, but seeing like Narbash in this competitive tournament doing a lot of different like direction for this Narbash ability build order is very surprising to me. And so yeah, Mercy is asking like why to max Q. I have to admit I'm not really sure why, Mercy. I feel like the idea of maxing something else than the E early on is because you can see from his build order, it doesn't have a lot of mana, and so he maybe like prefer to be able to heal for longer than stronger, because then like the amount of heal you get per mana point is better if you don't max your E. So I guess like it's because you don't have a lot of mana. So I can see the idea of maxing something else first, like either the March or the Thunk, before you max the E if you don't go for like a build that have a lot of mana. Which I think can be like a nice way, but then I don't know why not maxing the heal second. Because that means that usually as a Narbash, like as a support player, you can only really max 2 abilities. And so that's why like, yeah, you get like a lot more move speed overall. Like you get like a very low CD and so you can run fast. But in terms of like pure utility in teamfight, I feel it's slightly less. So, but I never tried like maxing Q first. I always thought Q was the first spell you max. And so I might have to try it a little bit when I apply the Narbash to kind of have a better understanding of why that might be a good idea. So here we can see the swap, the dual lane going like towards the off lane, while we do have the mid laner going towards like the dual lane. They're probably like here just trying to get the farm where they can find it. We do have the R Prime that is now available. Fangtus still have like 1 more minute, 15 seconds before it respawns, something like that. So we're gonna back to base because we have finished the True Silver bracelet, I assume, with the gold we have in the bank. Just waiting for the 750 gold to get the True Silver, and now we have like the triple shield item, so now Xehe is fully online to be able to unleash this Crash Bang Boom during teamfight. So here we're just like basically waiting for the objective to respawn. I'm not so sure Xehe should be like looking towards like his this offlane lane. He should be like grouping up with his team to be able to maybe create pressure. Starting to get like a little bit vision around the Fangtus, which is something I would prefer to see. And here you can see he's grouping up with the team in the mid lane, getting his level 9, finishing matching the March. And here we're gonna get like an engage. We use the sanctification immediately. We try to go for the ultimate with the thing. We see the Frost Elder proc in that ultimate, dealing a lot of damage to people and getting the shield on top of that, so the ultimate didn't get cancelled. And that's a nice counter engage here. It's a 5v4. We only 1 person die. Mav trying to survive with 1 HP. They do have to be careful because maybe the long arm of the low is still available. And here we can see Lycanator trying to find like the pickup, but nobody died. And so that's maybe they shot to actually go for the Fangtus. They still have the healing of the Narbash, while the enemy team has to go back to base. But at the same time, Mav kind of had to go back to base as well. And so they didn't have the hunt to secure that. So they decide to not risk it. We get the sunk, but it's not going to be enough. Cold a little bit late to be able to deal the damage onto lowers. And so here, as the side of the chef, like we kind of hesitated a lot, while the side of the villains didn't hesitate. And so here we kind of have like everyone coming back full HP. We still have people full HP, but you can see that Sneaksy is very low on mana. Like the Narbash is not really that high on mana, Cold neither, so they're gonna force this Fangtus, but the side of villains really had time to fully come back and be fully healthy, so I feel like that's a dangerous fight to go for. We get like the Sunk trying to get a lot of damage on Happy Picker. You can see like the positioning of Xehe in center of his team. But here they have to go for the disengage. Everyone is walking away. We're gonna get the March to go away, but only Happy Picker to damage when like the whole team on the side of the chef took a lot of damage. And here it all comes down to the fact that the chef had a window to go for that Fangtus after they win the team fight and they got the kill. But they spend so long to actually hesitate that they don't go for it, but they still stay around. And the time you just spend at waiting around and not going for it means that no, villains had time to go back to base, walk back to the Fangtus, and now they're stronger because they reset it so they could spend their gold, and on top of that they're full health, full mana on almost everyone. So yeah, in the sense like the chef win the fight, but they didn't utilize it correctly, and so now they lose the Fangtus out of it. So we're still working. The idea as a support around like these 25-minute marks, you're looking to get your level 11 so you can get a second point in your ultimate, which usually allow here for him to get like a much lower cooldown, and so you get like more ultimate out of you, which is like usually ultimate on support are pretty strong and can be like team fight chain defining. So this is why it's important to try to reach that level 11. And we can see that the Rictor is already 11 on the side of Toasty, while she is falling a little bit behind on Narbash. And base stats on Narbash are very important to be able to survive, because you can't really build super tanky. First Ender True Silver is kind of tanky, but it's not like full tank either, because you still need to find a little bit of utilities through your build. And so like having those base stats are very important, and you can see that she is trying to go towards the level 10, but it's like a full level down, even a little bit more, which can be an issue later down the line. So for now, I think like both teams are looking to create priority on the map. Only the big ore prime is up, but neither of those teams like feel like confident to forcing it without getting something before. This is where we kind of have a stalemate right now. People pushing wave, nobody stepping up through like the half of the map, because everyone is kind of scared to actually like make a mistake, and suddenly you open the ore prime, and suddenly like you kind of lose all the advantage you kind of build on the side of villains, or you would lose the game on the side of Chef if they just like make a blunder. So everyone kind of tense. Finally getting the level 10 out of the Narbash. And we're looking to, like I said, still working towards that level like 11, while Tosi is already at 11 and very close to that level 12. So she needs to do like slightly better job at catching farming lanes. Here we're getting like a little bit of vision, dewarding, trying to prepare some stuff, still hovering around the mid lane to get like those experience moments. I have to admit, Realista, that I don't know why he's not maxing the heal. Like I can understand you don't max the heal first if you don't go for a build that have any mana regen, because otherwise you're out of mana in 2 seconds. But then I feel like you should be maxing the heal second, no matter what, to actually have like some value. But I guess like here, as you can see, it's still like going like very tanky item. And so like it's maybe like scared that it doesn't have enough mana, but normally later on your passive is enough to guarantee that you have enough mana regen to be able to use that heal. So that's something I'm a little bit skeptical, Realista, and I'm not sure why. So here, like, very patient moment. None of the team actually like trying to make a play on any situation of the map. I guess like it's gonna like activate again once the Primal Fangtooth respawn. And then there will be like 2 big objectives on the map. And maybe like that will force team to actually like react and do something. But so far, we're not doing anything. We're keeping like lane completely still. And she's still like hovering towards the middle lane, but still like not getting his level 11. Still working towards his Crash Bang Boom level 2. That would be nice to get it before the next team fight. We're getting close, but we still like need one more wave. And here we have the Primal Fangtooth respawning. She going back to base on the timing of like the respawn. Get the Violet Brooch, and probably getting like the 3 wards back. That was like probably the reason behind that back. Still here, I would have loved him get the hold on this wave in the mid. That would have allowed him to be level 11. Here we're trying like to just like trade here, so they could decide to go for a Primal Fangtooth on the side of villains, while the Chef is just trying to get the All Prime. They're trying like to get like lethal trade. Mav is very low on HP. They do have to be careful though. And here, they do kind of secure. Here we have the crash bang boom trying to create some space, but there is nothing to be found in terms of fight because it's just like a disengage, and then there is like the primordial base. And so in the end, the chef like managing to trade objective, but they lose 2. Everyone needs to disengage. Of course, it's the primal Fengtus, so it's not the best to actually like push structures. It's better to have the R prime, but they have the R prime on 3 people. They actually lost the Rictor, so in the end it's a 2-for-1 and trading objective. But it's also the triple Fengtus, so Villains being in complete control of that game so far. And I feel like the chef are kind of playing scared overall. They played like very slow. They don't force anything. They just reacted, and because they just reacted, they were a tempo down when it comes to actually going for that R prime, and because they were a tempo down, then the side of Villains got the time to actually come, contest them, get some kills. But at the same time, Villains decided to not push on the timing that they had like a little bit of like a kill up, and so they just decided to reset, and so now it's just like a 5-man against a 5-man when you only have Primordial Fengtus and we have like a Bellica, a Twin Blast and a Shinbi to push wave. I don't feel like really there is like a lot to be done to actually sieging tower. So also on the side of Villains, I feel like it's kind of a missed opportunity. Kind of playing slow. I think they should have been like trying to take at least like a tier 2 tower or maybe 2 while they had like this kill advantage, and everyone had to go down back to base. So they have a timing to actually like pressure the map quite well, and they didn't take advantage of it. So here we do have the chef actually like bringing like 3 people on the right side of the map. Well, the left side on the mini-map because we are on the opposite direction, trying to create some pressure to maybe get this tier 2 tower. But here we can see that we have the collapse of the enemy team, so they simply disengage. Kind of like a game of chicken, to be fair, that match. And so Villains in control of it. Also, like if we look, but we're already almost full build on the side of Lycanator. And we're keep like advancing towards like finishing everything. We got double obelisk though on the side of the chef, so that's something that can be scary for the later stage of the game. And so here we're going back to base. I guess maybe we finish an items. So we finished the giant ring. And we're back to waiting a little bit. You can see that we have a group of 4 people around the Fengtus pit on the side of Villains. The chef are not getting out of their tower at all. But they kind of have to be careful of like playing that passive, because that means that probably like Villains should be like pushing wave aggressively. Not really like committing too hard, but getting like full map priority, so then they can like go for objective with all this map priority and have like full control of the vision. Especially since the tier 2 tower in the mid lane is gone, like there is not a lot that they can really like do to defend themselves on the side of Villains. And I do hope like the fact that they're playing super slow is not gonna end up like being an issue for them, because like playing that super duper slow can be like actually scary. And you can see like here Chef like super scared, not stepping up at all while the Primal Fengtus is going to respawn. But the little thing that we do have is that we do have like here Sneaksy starting to split push, and the wave is quite advanced, and we can see that the rest of the side of Villains is actually like all going for this Primal Fengtus and nobody is defending. So I guess they're accepting to lose this inhibitor to go for the Primal Fengtus. And so here it's going to be like a key moment of the match, is like how do they manage to get this Primal Fengtus, and probably like at the cost of their inhibitors. But here we're trying like to prepare. The Primal Fengtus is started, people are stepping up. They don't really have the frontliners, and so here they're just trying like to poke, be a nuisance. And here we have like the triple. We tried to engage with the shield slam, going onto the belly cap, but a good sunk by Xehe. And then we got the ultimate, and we got the ultimate onto 4 people. Like a very amazing crash bang boom. People getting low. Happy Picker already dead. We're gonna find Toasty. Like, she's tried to stay alive, but unfortunately end up dying. And here we're gonna be very, very close. Lakenator getting the snipe. Only Cold is alive, but in the meantime, we do have Stingsy going like for the core. And so here this fight with like Cold actually like stopping people from backing. Lakenator tried to back, but I think he got cancelled by Minion, and suddenly not Tribal Oasis ended up winning the match. For this, so to be fair, Villains were in control the whole match. She did some good ultimate, but there was like nothing too spectacular. And the chef played like super duper passive. But then Villains also played super duper passive. And in the end, like here, that just happened. I guess Villains got burnt. They tried to force the primal. And they forget like one of their wave was not set up correctly. To be fair, there is like no excuses for this wave to not be set up correctly since the chef were not playing. And yeah, just like that, Chef didn't like control the game at all and just win the game in the end. So be mindful of split push, and if the enemy team is not playing, like just set up your wave before you go for objectives.